All right, we're back. I'm contemplating whether I should say it or not. I'm gonna say it. No, Beverly's laughing at me. What do I say? No nets,
Deja vu.
no nets, no edits, among other things. But we're gonna get right into this. We're gonna start off with got a
Many
bunch of
mixed feelings about
yeah, we
moms.
got a
That's
lot
what
of
we're
mom
starting
hate
with.
mail, and I'm just gonna make a comment. I don't condone anything he did. You know, he answered for what he did. Also, the age of consent in Canada is 16. So people calling him a child molester, you know, I call things as I see them, my whether friend or foe. Uh, I'm not saying it's appropriate, but that's the way the law reads. So
In
people
Canada.
in Canada and in 16, 17 of these states here in the United States.
Mm.
The age of consent is very young. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. It's just fact and record. So let's get into it, Bev.
Okay, Van B. Man wants to know, did you have personal contact with Canada?
I did have personal contact through an emissary. We'd come down once a month for the West Coast officers meeting. He'd bring Canadian business down, and we'd send United States business back. Also met them at Sturgis, other runs, parties. It was easier for them to come to the United States than for us to go to Canada. Also met them up at the park in Billingham, Peace Park. Took care of a lot of business up there when the banditos were thinking about entering Canada, when the war with the rock machine was going. Keep in mind that Walter and my first wife Cheryl, who Beverly was good friends with, was from Canada, same town as Walter. So yeah, that's how we communicate.
Newmarket.
Newmarket, Hamilton, Newmarket. I don't know what the difference is.
I just saw today on the news that John Candy was from Newmarket.
Yeah, that's he's a funny guy.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Wascally says George really dislikes bullies. Is that true?
Well, I do dislike bullies. I think he's making a reference. He wrote some other information. We had a new member get voted in the club. Went down to the local watering hole, the Red Cove. That was kind of our bar. One of them. We had a couple of them in town, and he was feeling his oats. He had those new member muscles, and he said some inappropriate things to the barmaid who was a good friend of ours and who was married to an associate of ours. So in the morning, he was reprimanded, and he brought her a bouquet of flowers along with his black eye that he was sporting.
Hmm.
We tried to take care of the people that supported us, and they got out of line. They got an ass kicking just like anybody else. But if they were supportive of us, we made sure they didn't get abused or anybody in their family.
Okay, Proletarian 187 writes, lots of club jumping going on.
Well, yes, especially in Europe, and I think it's happening over here as well. Uh, Not a good practice. You take these animosities along with you, and you take some of the positive stuff too. But jumping from club to club's not a good practice.
Okay, Waydell wants to know Bev's new moniker, the money counter. How'd she get that?
Bev is the money counter. Well, we made reference, remember last week about you counting those sacks of $9,999 of cash.
Yeah.
Didn't want to have to report that to the IRS. But this was many, many years ago. The statute of limitations have run out. But I do remember that gal could count some money.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Thomas Kelly wants to hear about motorcycles. That's a very narrowed down niche little
Well, it's the whole thing is
two
about
wheels.
motorcycles and brotherhood and whatnot. You want to know about motorcycles specifically? Ask me. You're the first guy that's really asked about it. I just got through picking up pictures for the new book, and one of the pictures was the one I'd won in the dice game with Saint and Slave Bill Reed. Of course, the picture doesn't look like how it looked when I won in the dice game. David and I completely redid it. Came up with that black, all black with just highlighted in chrome look, which I think Harley kind of got some ideas from us. But anyways, next question. You want to know about bikes? Write about bikes. Ask.
John Ralston writes, do you believe your dream about little Georgie was spiritual?
Well, yeah, I think there's a connection there. Perhaps I was reaching out to him, perhaps him to me. I don't know. I don't want to get all mystical on you, but there's a lot of there's a lot of things that happen in this world we can't explain, we don't understand. But dream about my family from time to time, the ones that are gone. Never dream too much about the ones that are here, but I'm spending too much time with them. All right, next one.
Okay. It's hard to believe that Cisco got pistol whipped by the bandits in Texas.
Well, Cisco was a misfit when that happened, I believe. He was going through Texas, and he stopped off or ran into those guys somehow. And knowing Cisco like I know him, those guys from Texas like to dominate, and so did Cisco. And the pricing was abrasive, comments exchanged. Anyways, pistol whipped in Texas, and then Cisco returned the favor at the Oakland clubhouse. He had given Sonny his word that he wouldn't hold any retribution to the banditos that were visiting down there, but his emotions got the best of him, and he pistol whipped one of them and said, "Take that back to Texas," I think was his comment. But you sound like you doubt that it happened. I can assure you that's what Cisco told me, but I think for further verification, you should go to your mom.
Okay, Jeff writes, I think Doc from Lowell helped with Canada.
I'm going to acquiesce to that. I think Doc probably did help. I didn't leave him out intentionally. I don't leave anybody out intentionally of any of my stories. Uh, Even if I don't like them, if I've had beefs with them, I think everybody knows it's a regular out there that I have mixed emotions about Sonny. Sometimes I'm loving the guy, sometimes I'm hating him. Just depends how I feel and how I remember things in my mind that happened. Sometimes I take them a little bit more personal than other times, but uh, I don't alter the history. I just try to tell it.
Ricky Bryan writes, Buck always had underage girls.
Well, he did, and but I will add that, and we talked about this earlier, and you didn't seem real excited about it, but he always had emancipation. How do you say it?
Emancipation Papers.
Emancipation papers from a court when he
I
was
don't
with the
think
minor.
people ran around with
He
Emancipation
did, Beverly. I'm
Papers.
telling you, I
Okay.
I confronted him about a girl that he had there. She looked very young, and I said, "Hey, Buck, I don't know what the deal is, man, but I said I don't want the cops coming down here because you got some runaway. You're in the clubhouse sleeping with her." And he goes, "Oh no, George, she's emancipated," and he pulled the paperwork out and showed me. So I don't know.
That's a 1 in a million shot.
Uh,
Okay,
I'm
Amp.
not going to get into
Okay,
Buck.
okay, okay.
1 in a million.
Yeah,
He died in prison for the Margot Compton murders,
yeah, yeah.
and that was a sore spot with him and I. When I was in prison in 1986, the FBI planted an informant in there with me who buddied up and chummed up to me. Recorded several conversations about the Margot Compton murders, in which I wound up being called by the defense witness as a defense witness in the trial up in Oregon. It was a mess. Sonny and I had some long discussions about it. I know somebody from the AB. I can't think of his name. I know his name. I just can't think of it. He allegedly testified in the trial up there as well. Heavy security at that trial. I mean, I had an earring on. You were not allowed to wear any club stuff at the courthouse. I had a little earring. I thought, they won't pay attention. Man, they jumped all over me. They go, you got to take that earring off before I went in the courtroom. They had heavy security, heavy scrutiny. And I was there. Junior from Richmond was there. Sonny was there. This AB
What
member
were
was
you
there.
there for? What was your purpose
My
being there?
purpose was to say that the government had targeted uh, Buck like they had targeted me for that Mexican mafia deal. And I did get that all out, and everything that I testified to was stricken from the record because I was being a smartass, and I kind of had an arrangement with the defense lawyer. I looked at the jury and talked about my prison experience, and then the defense lawyer goes, "Wait a minute, are you a felon?" And I said, "No, I'm not a felon." He says, "Well, how do you explain you were in prison?" And I said, "Well, the FBI framed me, and ultimately I got out." And oh man, they went crazy because we were trying to infer
Yeah.
that they would frame Buck as well. But
Oh,
anyways, it didn't fly.
okay. Aunt wants to know. Talk about the Grondalski family murders.
Well, it was hand in hand with the Margot Compton stuff. I'm not going to address it today. That's something that I'll get into in the future. That was another family that was murdered, and sad situation. I guess that's it, Bev.
Mhm.
Bev's going to mosey on. Uh, I want to get into talking about Altamont. Now, Altamont's an old story, and December 6th, 1969, that happened. Uh, what I want to talk about, and some of you may know, I'm thinking most of you probably don't know, that case was reopened in 2003. And that's what we're going to lead up to and we're going to talk about. But on December 6th, 1969, a lot of people say that was the end of the love and peace era. It all happened at the Altamont Speedway at the Free Music Festival. The perception of the Hells Angels prior to that were we were heroes of the counterculture, if you will. And then a lot of people shifted their position and said we were nothing more than schoolyard bullies. My position's always been that the organizers uh, did a terrible job, and they got exactly what they requested. They wanted the musicians protected. Meredith Hunter pointed a gun at the stage, and Alan Passaro reacted, protected the Stones. Right or wrong, it's history. It's can't be changed. It's documented on film footage. But I got to tell you, as a concert promoter, parking the motorcycles between the audience and the stage, really a stupid move. In addition, the stage was like 3 feet high. People were jumping up on it, and whatnot. It was just an all-around amateur setup. Our agreement was initially to watch the generators. I was told that by the Grateful Dead manager, uh, who I was friends with, and it kind of morphed into watching the stage. I don't know if what the final agreement was. I think there's a lot of different conversations going on, which happens a lot when people are partying. But the rumor that a lot of the people in the club were upset about it. I think there were silently. Was Terry the Tramp even at Altamont? People say he was there. He was all pissed off. He was sitting up on a hill. I don't see any photo evidence that he was there. Was he there or not? I don't know if it really matters. I mean, he didn't last long after Altamont. He died from a hot shot. We all know that story. I'm not going to get into that. But I got a lot of my information. I wasn't at Altamont, but I got a lot of my information from Animal. And Animal and I had a long-standing relationship from elementary school to high school to hanging out with the question marks, and then him becoming a Dago Hell's Angel, me a Los Angeles Hell's Angel. So he confided in me a lot. You know, everybody knows the story. Marty Ballin got smart with Animal, disrespected him. Animal warned him. He didn't heed the warning, and he got knocked out. Uh, I think that Grace got on there and talked a little bit of shit about the club. She was reserved in what she said because later they broke their complete relationship off with the Hells Angels. But they, after Grace got up there, Sweet William got up there and said his 2 cents. But you know, the whole thing was unfortunate. But Meredith Hunter, he played a hand in his own demise. I mean, you don't pull a knife out at an event like that. I mean, excuse me, a gun out at an event like that. Figure nothing's going to happen. But pulling a gun to me was suicide, and didn't take long to figure out who did it. Alan Passaro was on film stabbing Meredith, and there was rumors that he was in Los Angeles, and there was a big manhunt for him and whatnot. The way I understand it, he was in jail doing time on a small drug charge when he got arrested for the murder. Ultimately, he had a trial, and he was acquitted from that trial. It was deemed self-defense. Uh, but in 2003, the case reopened, and what they thought was there was a second assailant that stabbed Meredith, another Hell's Angel. So they reopened the case, spent a bunch of money, wasted a bunch of time, and despite the whole assault being on film, they just had to look at it. And I think the way they described it was enhanced new footage, which is bullshit. There was no second assault. Seen it all. Get the movie. Give me shelter. It's on these cable channels. But in 2003, they opened the case. Went on till 2005. And after reviewing all the footage and interviewing people, they confirmed that Alan acted alone. Now you got to figure this was 36 years after the first investigation and then acquittal in a court of law. Now Alan would eventually die under really strange circumstances. It was ruled a drowning. He was found in a reservoir. He had a suit on, $10,000 in his pocket. Very suspicious circumstances. Uh, Lots of rumors, lots of speculation. Was Alan a cooker, a drug cooker? I don't think so, but he could have been. I mean, San Jose had a history of that. Record speaks for itself. I'm not giving away any secrets. But as far as Alan, I know he had some drug charges in the past. The $10,000 is it's kind of suspicious. It's like whoever got rid of him, they just got rid of him. Now they say it was accidental drowning, but it seems suspect. Now, uh, this can lead into another story I'll do in the future. This started a 10-year beef with the Rolling Stones. The Rolling Stones said that they would pay for any legal fees that the Hells Angels incurred protecting them. And they didn't want to come across. And the reason they didn't want to come across was they didn't want it to look like they were in bed with the Hells Angels or in concert with the Hells Angels. There was a small settlement made to the family. I might get into it. It's kind of interesting. Uh, but there was $50,000 owed to the Hells Angels, and a lot of stuff happened. Word got back to Mick Jagger that we were very serious about collecting our money, and he finally cut a check. But it was a decade later. I think I remember at the OM officers meeting, the money had come, and some people, a handful of people in New York and a handful of people in Oakland, didn't want to split the money with anybody, and turned into a big scene. Brothers pitted against brothers, and I'll get into that. I'm the one that brought it up, and I found out by accident about the payment. But that's a story on Alan Passaro. You know, not only tried and found not guilty, but then investigated 36 years later. It's typical bullshit. And like I said, that whole 60s era ended at Altamont. And like I said, we're no longer heroes to the county counterculture. If you see that A&E special I participated in, Secrets of the Hells Angels, I retitled it "Not So Many Secrets of the Hells Angels" because they didn't do what they said they were going to do when I signed up for that deal. But the they interviewed a bunch of hippies that were at Altamont, and there were some old guys. I don't know who they were. They talked a lot of shit about the club, but the bottom line is, sorry Meredith got killed, but he pulled a gun, pointed it at the stage. He knows why the Hells Angels are there. Everybody knows, and it was pretty evident by what was transpiring, what had transpired all day long. So, such is life. Okay, that's it. Please stay with us here on YouTube. Please follow us. We're up past 30,000 followers. Let's keep it going. You don't like commercials, go to Patreon, but don't ditch us here. And be sure to ask us questions each week. I appreciate it, and it's a lot of fun answering them. I'll see you guys. Take care.